in library services, challenges, and opportunities. First and foremost, I would like to welcome all the participants across the globe. Your presence enriches our discussion and highlights the global importance, innovation, and connections. Throughout the webinar, we will discover how various innovations, activities can help us think differently, collaborate more effectively, and create a culture of innovation in our organizations and communities. So let's explore how AI is reshaping libraries from enhancing such capabilities and to navigate ethical dilemmas. Before we begin, I would like to encourage you to actively participate, ask questions, and share your insights in the chat box. Together, let's explore how inspiring innovation activities can empower us to forge deeper connections, bring positive change in our society. And please take a moment and mute your microphones other than speaker. Before we divide, I want to inform you one thing that if if you want your e-certificates, kindly please fill the form. Feedback form will be provided in the chat box, or it will be later transferred you to the mail. Before we divide into the next segment, I would like to take a moment to first thank Professor MP Singh, President of SLA Asia, for their valuable assistance to us. Dr. MP Singh is presently working as a professor in the Department of Library and Information Science at Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University. And he has more than 2 decades experience in enriching fulfilling work experiences. Presently, he is an president of SLA Asia community. Hello. Hello. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Yes, very much audible. Please continue.
Yeah,
Yes.
continue.
So he has written 14 books, edited 17 edited books, and 58 research papers published in various UGC care list and peer-reviewed international and national references to the journals. His experience is more than 2 decades, and I can add that he has participated as an invited speaker in various national and international conferences. So please welcome. So without delay, I would like to request Professor MP Singh sir for formal welcome and introduction for the theme of webinar. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Miss Pinky Bhagat, for nice introduction. A very good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, I'm really grateful for the gracious welcome to you all, respected speaker of this inaugural international webinar, Professor Sona Zaharia means ma'am, Executive Board of SL Asia Community, Asia Community, luminaries of allies across the globe, research scholars, students, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's a great pleasure and feel honor to be welcome at this auspicious occasion to connect and interact to galaxy of eminent personalities, luminaries of education across the globe. With immense pleasure and a deep sense of respect, I would like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome each and every one of you to this international webinar on the role of artificial intelligence in library services, challenges and opportunities. Today, we are privileged to come together virtually from all corners of the globe to participate in a conversation that is really significant and pertinent. A warm welcome to all of you on behalf of SLAC community and my own behalf. Fellow friends, I am very glad to inform you that the SLAC community celebrating Silver Jubilee in this year. And for the celebration of Silver Jubilee as a remarkable milestone in our SLA history, the executive board have been decided that we will organize at least 25 events in particular Asian countries, but also webinars, conferences, and we will organize our particular networking sessions and social gathering both in physical and virtual mode in the whole year in the Asian countries. So, fellow friends, indeed, it's my pleasure to inform you that the more than 800 registrations have arrived, which is still coming now. So, I extend a warm welcome to all our participants joining us from across the globe, especially if I say India, Philippines, Bangladesh, Hungary, Indonesia, UAE, Ireland, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and other countries worldwide. So, really, your presence enriches our discussion and highlights the global importance of innovation and also connection. So, due to overwhelming response from the all corner of the professionals, it is also live stream on YouTube channel. Here, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Professor Sonazharia Minjmem, our esteemed speaker of the webinar, a highly esteemed academic luminary. Professor Mins has had a significant influence on the field of computer and system sciences over her illustrious career. We are privileged to welcome someone whose name resonates with excellence and innovation in academia. Professor Means, with her extensive experience and proudly and profound knowledge, has not only served as a former Vice Chancellor of SKM University, Jharkhand, but has also been a driving force at the renowned Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. So, once again, we warm welcome you, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time with us. As far as concern about theme of the webinar, as we know that in today's rapidly evolving world, innovation is not just a buzzword, but it's a necessity. It is about finding new ways to solve problems, collaborate effectively, and create value. By engaging in inspiring innovations activities, we can unlock our creativity and foster collaboration and build connections that fuel innovations. So, in today's digital age, libraries serve as gateways to knowledge, and the integration of artificial intelligence presents both challenges and opportunities that we can't ignore. AI has the power to completely change library operations not only the library services, but also each and every aspect of human life by improving search results and tailoring users' experiences. But these potentials also bring with them difficulties. So we will go deeply into these issues and possibilities throughout this webinar, utilizing the knowledge of our renowned speaker. So once again, I extend a warm welcome to Professor Sonajarya Minjmen and to all our esteemed participants. May this webinar be a beacon of knowledge and inspiration, guiding us toward a future where innovation knows no bounds. So, friends, without taking your much time, I would like to request Professor Minjmen for her invited talk. Uh, Professor Minjmen, over to you, please.
Good afternoon from India. Maybe good morning to those who are on the west of our latitude and longitude, and it must be late evening for those who are of us. Good regards and namaste, namaskar from as we greet in India. I hope I'm audible and I can proceed.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, at this time, I'm extremely honored to be the speaker and this first speaker at the series of webinars, as Dr. Professor Singh mentioned, to be delivering a lecture under the banner of SLA Asia, Special Library Association Asia. And it is, again, an extremely delightful moment for SLA Asia to be completing 25 years out of a long, long history of SLA, which is more than 100 years of its existence. And I think the theme of the webinars or sequence of the webinars is equally exciting and challenging. Which is empowering connections through inspiring innovation activities. And so much as such themes excite people from multiple disciplines, and me not being one coming from library or library science, either faculty or the staff of library, because the libraries have various opportunities for employment of very highly skilled staff. I don't come from any of these domains, but I come from the domain of computer science. And my research area has always been artificial intelligence from the very beginning. And as I was preparing for this webinar, I was reminded how libraries were the inspiration to data science, if I may say, or data mining for that matter. And so at this time, as I said, I'm extremely honored to be invited to be delivering this lecture or at the webinar. I would like to recognize the persuasiveness which was there in the invitation of Professor MP Singh, the president of SLA Asia. I would like to also recognize Ms. Lalbiba Jain, who is the president-elect, and I would like to congratulate her for the incoming period and wish her luck for various activities. I would like to also recognize probably the eminence and prominence of the immediate post-president, Joseph Yap, and also the secretary, Anna Mai Kantel, who do collaborate in order to collaborate and contribute towards activities, and not only activities, services and presence of SLA Asia, as SLA Asia celebrates 25 years. As I was mentioning, the theme seemed very in synchrony with my own research area, as it says, empowering connection through inspiring innovation activities. And being a student of artificial intelligence before 90s, but early in the mid 80s, and then thereafter continuing to do my research in artificial intelligence and moving to data mining and knowledge discovery in large databases, which now at these days we also hear the other words, data analytics and data science. I was humbled and reminded, as I mentioned earlier, that libraries have been one inspiration for this entire area. And then, so therefore, my presentation this evening is going to be from that perspective, how the role of artificial intelligence in library services, the challenges and opportunities. So probably I'll be able to bring in the kind of threats and fears, and also the advantage and the fears of digitization and digital platforms, which the library services should avail, because there is no other option. But also the libraries and library services be capacitated with training and awareness on how to use and what to use. And therefore, going to my next slide, I would like to also recognize that the Special Library Association, being a nonprofit global organization for innovative information professionals and their strategic partners in business, government, academic, and other specialized settings. And I was quite surprised when I was trying to make myself aware about SLA. And it is an organization which brings together the information professionals. And talking about libraries and library science and information science, or libraries and information science, became the first area which actually started working and probably working ahead of other domains that could use data analytics or data mining or data science. And so I was surprised and very delighted to be again addressing this gathering, which has a number of participants, as the processing was mentioning. Yeah, now which I'm sure the audience also comprises professionals who are information professionals and their strategic partners in either business or government or academic and other specialized settings. And I would go ahead and assume, mostly we must be from academics and not many from business and government. Yeah. Now, SLA also has had these other characteristics. As I was looking at the website, it strives, or its vision is towards information and or knowledge resources for business executives, government agencies, staff, universities, faculty and students, association members of SLA, nonprofit funders, and law firm partners. Now, what was more again interesting for me to note was SLA is very, very vocal and very categorical in making the next set of bullets that I have, and it really delighted me: diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I guess that is the reason there is also SLA Asia chapter, or this regional association or a regional platform, so that the diversity, equity, and inclusion actually becomes alive. And so the website also tells us about diversity, inclusion, community equity community, which is DICE community, anti-harassment policy, which is again so that this actually becomes a platform for innovation to be going crisscross and for leveraging innovation of one area by the other areas, and education and training, which I think is an imperative and necessary thing, especially when it is a matter and business of libraries and library services. Coming to my my next slide, I'm sorry, it looks like my are my full slides visible? I think they are. So my next slide is about library and library services. As I was mentioning, that I was trying to make myself more aware about library and library services, so that the knowledge of artificial intelligence and therefore role of artificial intelligence in library services could be more meaningful for me as well as my presentation. Now, library, we don't need to know this definition, but I just wanted it to come back because my later slides might speak about this collection of data. It is a collection of books and also possibly of other materials, because now, not only now, I think any library, consider a small library in a small school. It's not only a set of almirahs containing only books, but there could be others other materials like documents. I do remember my school library would also regularly, that was the place we could find newspapers and old newspapers. So these newspapers are documents. They are written media documents, and even keeping those or archiving such documentation also becomes the library takes that responsibility, and which is not supposed to be just a storage like a godown or a warehouse, but it needs to be accessible to its members or the users or those who collaborate to make this platform more useful and beneficial. Library services, as I was trying to make myself aware, it's basically now. So therefore, here library contains material which are for reading and knowledge, either for knowledge enhancement, or even if it is somebody's habit or hobby. So reading material must be for convenient use. I think I would like to underline these terms, and that is why I'm going through them. Now, what does this mean or unfold, at least as far as library services are concerned, or what I could find from the internet, is about access to information and computer resources, innovative technologies that could enhance the access of library resources. Okay, so here is the first bullet talks about the material which may be there, and maybe computer resources, which may be software, which could be even the computers which are on all the time, or which is not the small desktops, but let's say servers and etc., which are on all the time. So it also indicates the accessibility 24 hours or all the time, right? So, and of the information. So here is a device, computer, and its resourcefulness, software, the device being the hardware as well as the software, and also the software which is more amicable and useful and suitable to the material which a library comprises or houses. So study support service is this next bullet, where we do long queues at the issuing counter is definitely not a sign of good support service. And so let's say the facility of issue, space to read, access to even other material or related material, which may
Excuse me, ma'am, PPT is not visual. PPT is not visual.
Oh, goodness. So let me stop sharing and then again reshare.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about it.
It's okay, ma'am. It's a technical issue.
Ma'am, your voice is very clear and no need to PPT. Thank you.
Okay, but then having a PPT also may help. Okay, so this was my very first slide. If it was not visible right from the beginning.
No, 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 ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Okay, the second one I talked about SLA.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
And my appreciation for us SLA has gone really up when I educated myself. I think I was in my third slide. Okay, so we've not, and I'm sure if most of you are from are related to libraries and library science, teaching or working in libraries, I think these are very, very simple material. But then I wanted to underline some of the matter, so that which can relate straight away to artificial intelligence. And the last bullet, which I was mentioning about, which is this one. I think if I did full screen, the movement of the slides was more difficult. So I'll maintain this one, not full screen. Okay, is that okay?
Yes,
Okay, I
ma'am.
think
Yes,
so.
please.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. So the third one, what I meant by this access to other material, which is at times like, I it need not be a related material, or material related to what I may be reading, but it might be just a material, other material, which would give me a break or a relaxation or other things, so such kind of infrastructure. So this supports services. I had meant I should have used the term infrastructure, really, the library infrastructure for you use and access. But I mean, words have their own limits. Yeah, the third one being access to material. Here it must be the effective reference service. So this part is to take care of the earlier on. We remember, I mean, because I think my generation is a very fortunate generation, which moved from everything which was hard print to the digital. And so I think those who may have had a taste of what I studied, what kind of library I must have used, which had catalogs, and if there was a system of cataloging and physically keeping those catalogs, and even if a couple of cards were missing from the catalog because they were small cards and we used to have those drawers, right? And it is exactly how these days a folder is found in a drive, and then also to go to the corresponding file. So here those drawers which had the catalog, so unless that had to be efficient, and the very thing of dictionary order of sorting, here was an I've already studied and taught sorting, but this was live example of dictionary order of sorting. Yeah, but then very soon we did have, come 80s, computers came in to our country also from mid 80s, and by end of 80s and 90s it all picked up. And I think instead of IT, ICT was the word, information and communication technologies, which was in place. And so the two other terms that we were listening to were internet, but even before internet, it was digitization. So digital platforms where the content and everything we were doing was on the computer. And so my generation also studied how it was binaries, and then the other formats in which the what we speak, what we write, needed to be converted so that the computer could store, computer could manipulate and do all kinds of processing. So information and communication technology was all about this uniform communication and integration of telecommunication. That is the telephone lines, which earlier on carried only voice or audio through those lines, and very soon it became wireless communication. And the moment the wireless communication of these communication channels became viable and feasible, as well as viable from cost point of view. So one needed only a computer somewhere, but then the network for communication meant a lot. And that is what was internet in my previous slide. Now the components here to ICT are definitely a hardware, definitely software, but software is not one generic word. There are specific softwares, and I'm sure everybody knows these days. I think the younger generation is far more affluent in these terms, and they know the categories, because these days the computer of my yesteryears are just reduced to these small phones, right? And so as our children or young people, the youngsters are so well equipped with everything, and also types of software. Now there again, the enterprise software, the software which are very, very specifically customized to certain kind of application. And also, as communication was moving from wire to wireless, and again the computer machines, instead of one little box, from very, very huge machines to coming to our desktops. Now we have even laptops have this competition of reduction in size, and even without to have worrying about the storage. Okay, or even like here the word audiovisual and variety of material, as I was mentioning earlier, needed to be taken care. And so in order for ICT to be a technological support or to aid what libraries traditionally did and library services traditionally were. So in terms of services, now here the communication and information and communication technology, I've not talked about information technology, but because that's again entire one area. But here I think in library science, those who have been students and teachers of library science know exactly what information technology is. But let me just limit it to the functionalities which are relevant to library services. Now, which is information access. So one is about information access. It's about a book or a particular material, whether it exists in a library or not. So it's something like catalog, as I was mentioning earlier. Now, if it exists, is there adequate space for storage? So to store, so to make the storage possible. Then also, for it to be, here the term transmit has come because it's the communication technology, but the same thing, whether, so we did talk about annotation of these books, and there is short description. So whether only the book title, the accession number, or certain minimum information about the book be there, or like we have in the back cover or somewhere, just the excerpt of it, or annotation to say that be there, or the whole book or whole material. Because if it is newspaper, and these days we have online newspapers, right? Now, so services of information technology or information and communication technology could take care of information access, storage, transmission. But comes this other part also, understand and manipulate. And I think in information science, library LIS, there's adequate amount of exposure done to how this understand and manipulation of the information could be, because we can come to that in analytics shortly. Okay, in my next slides. Functionality. So as far as functionality of the libraries are, or how these actions or these operations could assist directly to the library service functionalities, is to store, to retrieve. What do I mean by manipulate? Is only like when some book is torn or is no more in the shelf, then which editions, how many are going to be there? So this kind of up to date information must be there in the information base of the library. Okay, and the processes as to there be levels of authority to do the processes, and therefore that is what is meant by processes. Transmit, again I've talked about earlier. receive information electronically in a digital form. Well, that's imperative when we are talking about artificial intelligence, and all of you are very, very well versed with information system and digital platforms. Now, library science and in digital era, I was just looking at some of the fundamentals of library science, and as far as services are concerned, I think these principles, which are so cardinal to anybody doing library and information sciences, would know these fundamental laws, that books are for use, right? And if anything has not been used for, should that be occupying the shelf, okay? Because shelf space is so very important, and also the way they are going to be arranged, right? Okay, that is why, all the libraries and everywhere, where any place in the world, including the bookshops, they would like to have the latest editions to attract the attention of whoever visits. So in the visiting area, to place certain things, and post processing, they do go to the shelf. But can they just sit in the shelf? No, books are for use. Every reader must find a book, right? Because it cannot be that the users or those who subscribe or have membership to the library come and do not find the book they look for, right? So there can be books which are more popular than some others. There can be books which are more used and more read, and not by people in a place. So I would like to also imagine a public library, okay, in a locality. Let's say I'm sitting right now in Delhi. Most good number of you from Lucknow, and anywhere in the world we are. If there is a public library as opposed to an institutional library, right? The public library is supposed to cater to a geographical the population in a geographical area, and therefore my first point and the second point together, if certain books or a segment of books are not in use in one area, are there more takers in another area in a public library? Okay, it can be in a multidisciplinary. These days it's a time of multidisciplinary research, as well as not only research but education, higher education especially, and therefore we may not. It may be so that the student of international studies would like to read the books in political science because international politics is important. And likewise, the student of economy would like to learn sociology. And so, it can become an issue as to how many copies of the books be put in which section, because libraries do have departments, right? And every book, its reader. So I think what I was just talking about gets covered on this. Save the time of the reader. Yeah. So to find, locate the book, as it used to be earlier, to go through the catalogs and then find the reference, also find where it is located in order to reach the book. Now, these days, when we are talking about the digital era, everything should be based on how many clicks or how many pages one has to go down or scroll up and down and find the book, right? And so libraries are, if we, even in this slide of mine, libraries are an organism, one. And two, if it is not a growing organism, we might not want to call it organism, right? Because it's supposed to have life and dynamism in it. And dynamic processes indicate that it to be a live organism and needs to grow. Even if certain things seem to be obsolete, there are ways of putting them away and not in the active shelves, let's say archives and things like that. The archives need not have only old and outdated works, but archives also are used for saving some things which are very, very precious, so that it's not readily and easily accessible. Now come digital era, and everything was moving from these hard books, and some of us still like the feel of the paper, right? But then came this era of computers and digitization. Now, in digitization, all of you may be more well-versed than I am. It need not be for me as a computer science person, the digitization means everything be transformed to bits, okay, in the language of zeros and ones. Okay, but that's not how digitization can only be. Digitization also means taking the picture or saving pictures of something, but there is a picture format. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the format in binary, format in pictures, which are, so there are various formats. Youngsters know it better, JPG or P and something. Yeah, so those are pictures. But then we have PDFs, OCRs, and so on and so forth. But what does all these do? The digitization is helping the content which was earlier on in print, on papers, okay, be transformed to a format which could be stored in computers, and large computers, maybe large servers, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and that becomes data. And this data, unless has the processes or the software or even the functions or functionalities in that the software would not be of any use and cannot be used, or it cannot be made accessible, right? And so information about this data is the next level, because data is really the lowest level content in the digital format, but the next level content is information. And I think the students and those from information science are very, very well versed with this, and I don't have to elaborate too much. However, I'm a student of artificial intelligence, and this is the subject, especially, or this is the area in computer science where we also talk about the word knowledge. Okay, so the two words that I mentioned in my previous slide, that is data and information. So information is like metadata. It is the data about the data, but then the word knowledge is beyond that. And so library and information sciences, then moving towards, from books and documents, moving towards not only, as I was earlier on mentioning, like annotation of the book, which would be little information about the the content, but then to move to knowledge. And I think information science focuses on this, that the knowledge be literally in a tangible form, because all of us can sit back and say, okay, when I grow old, I'll be more knowledgeable. What does that mean? I would have more data, I would have more information. And so is it something? Is it something about the information which is knowledge, but then in tangible form? I do remember I had very early when I was supervising PhDs in data mining, we also were talking about tangible and intangible information. I said, why do we talk about information not being tangible? But then here, so knowledge in tangible form actually means how it needs to be represented. And I think the information science students would perfectly understand, this picture. When things are digitized, that's not enough. It needs to be taken to the next level, which is knowledge. And so the knowledge, the usefulness of knowledge is, in data mining, we do define that it is the non-trivial process of extraction of patterns and knowledge which is previously unknown, useful, novel, and so on and so forth. So that be in tangible form, so that so therefore, from the databases, one is not only talking about the information basis, but then the storage systems which would be able to store knowledge for its easy access, for retrieval, and use by the users of the library. And so here, when I said for use, comes in the activation of my next bullet, which is channels of communication. And I was mentioning a few minutes ago, instead of going through the catalog, going up to the shelf in the specific floor or in a specific department or section of the library, now it means how many pages am I scrolling through? Am I scrolling down and finding the button, which is hyperlinked or hyperlink at the bottom of the page at a convenient place in the page, and so the channel of communication also is not only the hardwired channel or now wireless channel, but channel of communication is how the design of the interface the software is, in order to make access really access the reality. So one can think of all of these pictures in order to see what the libraries are today. Well, I couldn't find any picture what the libraries of future with AI could be, but let's move on. Yeah, artificial intelligence. I mean, since I've been a student of artificial intelligence and I teach also artificial intelligence, machine learning for data analytics. Yeah, as it was amazing to see how the definition or meaning of artificial intelligence is also in the dictionary, and an Oxford dictionary presents the first one. I would not like to read the entire thing. I have shared the presentation with Processing, and those who want it can definitely access it. It's all right. So now, but then I did want to bring these two definitions, which were the definitions when I was a student we were dealing with, and to understand what artificial intelligence expected as far as innovation is concerned. So, which means, like here, if we check, John McCarthy was a professor who's been a leading person in from the beginning of artificial intelligence, and likewise Nils Nilsson from Cambridge. Yeah, so the computer systems capable of performing complex tasks that historically only a human could do. Now, what is that? Reasoning, making decisions, and solving problems. Okay, so these were the categorical areas McCarthy's AI moved into, and so therefore from McCarthy's discourse of AI, we have machine learning coming as an outcome. From Nilsson's, what we learn is now AI is the activity devoted to making machines intelligent. And intelligence is, what is the intelligence? The quality that enables an entity to function appropriately with foresight of its environment. Okay, so here the second definition is more towards those tangible platforms for knowledge representation, whereas in case of McCarthy, it's been the learning and the reasoning, going to the next level, becoming learning, because we are able to reason better when we learn more, right? This is the kind of human approach to what we think. Yeah. So coming to my next slide. Yeah. So here, AI and the library in artificial intelligence and library services. I mean, I'm not going to deliberate on the left column because this is what we know, and we want these considerations to be addressed by AI. So towards access, it's the technical or the hardware, as well as the second one is reference services, where I have earlier on touched upon the softwares. Okay, it need not be proprietary, but we don't know whether there are open source softwares. But these days, it's a time of open science, and even AI for open science has been a deliberation. So therefore, we should be having even open source softwares for use of libraries. But then again, customization for specific libraries may definitely be required, and which requires a good a battery of technical experts. Yeah. And so here, if we say reference services, maybe, I mean, the kind of artificial intelligence also is supported by the area of databases in computer science, as the databases also, if technologically developed in order to match the kind of domains AI was going to address and aid. So therefore, when I was a student, we would talk about expert systems, and there in the expert systems, we would use the word knowledge base, but that was actually data or the information base, and not literally the knowledge base. Okay, so but then with learning, machine learning coming into picture, then we have possibilities of the system learning, like whichever. And I think this, all of you who use internet, maybe for shopping or not even for shopping, and these days all our services, everything on the software, including our phones, they are, if we opt for AI support or AI enabled, what happens is we see that it's not only the question of cookies which are saved and are available for reuse, but something that you and I may have searched a couple of days ago, it pops up the moment we switch on our computer, right? So these are the things that indicate the person's interest. And so how does it impact the library or library software? See, the books which are frequently getting issued or are in demand, in my days, we would write the books that we needed, and then conveniently, either unintentionally, a library staff might oversee, there be an oversight of that entire page. So the requests which were there in the next page were met, but my request or page which had an oversight was not met. So now it is possible not to have such, or minimization of such events is definitely assured by use of AI. Now all of this to be it cannot be possible unless network connectivity is there, even in the same library. And now since I do not have that slide, but I wanted to, these days, especially in India, and I'm sure this is worldwide and in most of the countries, there is a network of libraries of the universities. And in India, we have InflibNet and some such other network of libraries, right? So these network of libraries also would have to be enabled by certain capabilities of AI, because whenever we say AI, those of you who are looking at my right column would see robotics and smart libraries, because robots for fetching the books, and if not fetching the books, at least rearranging the books, right? Because which is a tedious task, and all those who do work in the libraries or help organizing and rearranging of the libraries, we know how difficult or how tedious it's not difficult, because it may be a matter of interest, but it is a tedious and tiresome job. But see, all this is possible, and as I said, interlibrary connectivity can only be possible when there is a network connectivity. Then it doesn't need to have a dedicated network, but internet platforms or internet can also provide those services for the connectivity of libraries. Now here, the bottleneck happens is that the universities, and since I had been a vice chancellor in a university in a very, very remote location, InflibNet and all its potential and all its applicability is all fine, but subject to connectivity. And I would raise my hand each time whenever the chancellor would hold a meeting of all the vice chancellors of the state. I would say, sir, the connectivity. In my university, no connectivity, And so even if the students were asked to register for InflibNet, the registration doesn't matter, because if we go back to the principles of library services, you see, each book needs to have a reader. right? And then or even going down, like each reader or each member must have a book, right? So if the students take membership or register in Flipnet, and if there is no connectivity, what are we saying? Okay, that's about technology and not AI. But then AI can come about here, and then also to find to assess the connectivity in certain regions, and if they can be better, the certain kind of devoted infrastructure support which can be lent to certain libraries, certain universities, certain regions. Why should it be only my university in Jharkhand? Maybe there could have been a couple of.
Ma'am,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Someone is asking something. One question.
Can I have only, if you can see, I've got only one more slide. Can we come to
Okay, sir. Okay.
yeah, can come to the next slide and then ask questions? Yeah. Okay. So what I was talking about is why couldn't it be? I mean, so I do work in my research area, spatial data mining or spatial analytics. Spatial is SPATIAL. Okay. So what I was saying is my university was in the eastern part of Jharkhand, but then if the similar infrastructural support by just a network connectivity, or connectivity of the libraries which were in certain region, could help the students of that region, because that area and the libraries in certain area where could be useful for research in a specific area. Yeah. So now this is the task of what I have written down in my right side, AI and library science. See, this entire area becomes a potentially very potent area for information professionals. In fact, in the beginning of this was in beginning of 2000 when I started offering the course on data mining and started research. Some of us were trying to decide which area to take up. I did also look at the text mining or document mining and etc., because text data is so very important and interesting too, and it has a different nature because it cannot be saved into the formats of other databases, very long content like a series and stream and so on and so forth. So AI and library science do offer a very, very interesting area for information professionals to leverage the potential opportunities of the domain. Okay, I did slightly touch upon the robotics or robots. Okay, robotics and making the software smart. Now, user services and all this could be worked towards enhanced user services in line with the principles of library services. That here, pardon me for the spelling mistake. It's supposed to be data and AI literacy. Now, this would also include what I have probably listed in my next slide. We'll come to that. But library and analytics, I'm sure, is still an area of data science which has not been explored enough. So these are the opportunities. These are also challenges. Or if these 5 bullets are also taken up, these could improve the kind of services libraries are meant to bring in. Yeah. So the challenges and opportunities, as I have mentioned here, is about data. And data is not only just numbers, names, like student data, or the data that we see in the railway reservation systems and etc. But data here in the libraries it's a scale, the volume. Okay, now, scale is not also in terms of scale and volume should not be used interchangeably especially in libraries and library services and library science, because the scale is, if it is the number of books, volume can also be the volume or size of each data, right? Okay, there is variety, and therefore again interestingness and opportunities as well as challenges for AI is also there, which can help improve it if taken up prudently, can help the services in libraries. actually, in a sense, those of you who have heard of big data, I've tried to put down here the characteristics of what makes big data. And the moment, even before big data came, I would always talk to my students and say, any library is a big data, is a repository of big data. Temporality is also about it's not temporariness, temporality, edition 1, edition 2, number of editions, and etc. So all of these keep adding to the scale. Okay. Now, in terms of storage, it's not only the security from the point of leakage, but if we go back to the information science applications, they were about private and government players, the hubs for storage of data. And we do hear about data leak, right? So it is either intentionally, unintentionally, or by failure of technology also. There could be data leak. Now, that's not good for any library, and especially when it is a network of library, and especially when we have the services on payment. Those members of the libraries take subscription or payment. It's not a good idea. Again, privacy. We have this privacy acts even in India now, and so about information, let's say, about the members of the library, it cannot be just given away, right? And you and I keep receiving calls from here, there, and unknown places. And the first question I keep asking, where did you get my number from? And they would say, I was given. It is, all this is from data leak or the concerns of storage. Okay, so and I think I would like to also stop here for the reason of time, as well as I'm hoping that there are some questions. So profusely wanting to thank the organizers, and especially Dr. MP Singh for having invited me to deliver this lecture at this very, very important webinar, which has also given me an opportunity to look at library information, to still be an area where I can, together with my spatial analytics to take up. And therefore, thanking all of you for your patience. And as I was dealing with my slide, I'm unable to see all the participants. I hope to now be able to see some of you and the questions also. So with the permission, Professor Singh, can I stop sharing and then I can interact with the participants?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So is the question there in the chat? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am, for your excellent lecture and information. Ma'am, I have one question. First is, what is the difference between data mining and data retrieving?
Oh.
And second is how to help the AI to enhancing the reading habits.
Thank you very much for your question, Mr. Singh. There is a between retrieval and analysis.
No, ma'am, data mining and data retrieving.
Okay, great. Data mining, as I was trying to define earlier, is data mining is defined like this. It is non-trivial extraction of patterns. So something like, in let's say we have a small library in my departmental library. So this pattern, these patterns are more than the information. Okay, so it's not about how many books were issued this week. Okay, that's information. Giving the number is information, but pattern is something like certain kinds of books, even though which are not being the courses not being taught. I'm talking in the from the perspective of my school library. Okay, because We say School of Computer Science. So we do have a library in our school. And let's say if there are certain books which there are certain students which are very for the students who are preparing for their placement, and but irrespective of the semester before the placement, if certain kinds of material are being issued from the library, okay, so getting that information about interest of students irrespective of the courses being taught, okay, that is about a pattern. Now, and retrieval is getting the book or the journal that one wants to read. So data retrieval is getting the entire book or the content, whereas data mining is only about learning the, let's say, behavior or the pattern.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So can I read this question, which is a very, very interesting question on the chat? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can I read for
Can
you?
you
I can
Bhagat?
read it. I can read it. Okay, and thank you very much. I'm unable to pronounce your name, but it's a very, very significant question. The question reads like this: as you have mentioned that you were a student of AI in the 90s or before 90s, you might have experienced potential transformations. Drawing from your experience, you can share us any insight on the future trajectories of AI in libraries, including potential and areas of further research or development. Yes, in fact, I think when I was preparing for the lecture today, I was filled with such emotions because I have seen the era when computer came, and as I was speaking from my experience, what digitization meant. For a student of computer science, digitization meant converting all the content. Let's say even when we are typing, that content gets transformed to the binary level, okay, binary language. But then for making any book readable to a visually challenged student, the content needs to be transformed into the format a screen reader software can read, and those were initially OCR formats, and later PDFs are also being read by some of the screen readers. So in fact, initial phase was about digitization and how to digitize, what formats to digitize, what hardware and then software would be a good area for handling just digitization. But then post digitization comes the service, and therefore this is where I was talking about how the cataloging catalogs were also to be digitized, right? So it's just not making entries. I think it is much more than making entries in Excel, just translating or transliterating the hard cards into an Excel file or MS Access file, which is database. So I do look at catalogs, the older catalogs, be equivalent to what we have databases today, and all the information could be there. But this is not the end. Now, digitization also means beyond the catalog, right? The entire book. It's not only the information of the book and now accession numbers and etc., which used to be good for reference, finding the reference, right? Accession numbers are also for arrangements, right? And so on and so forth. But then, so that's the numeric arrangement for acquisition and post-acquisition of a book, right? And so there are all these slices and so many areas in information science, and especially library information science, and more development of this area, because these days the advantages at this time in point is that space or storage space is not an issue. Okay, we have adequate and competitive people and experts to write our software, to also customize our softwares. So and then knowledge, and let's say the not only text mining but document mining, as I was mentioning, because text mining can do the mining of something like, so far we are only had some success in medical record mining. Okay, and that too, because it involves a lot of areas such as ontologies and etc. But here, in case of libraries, what I feel is it will have to deal with a lot of number of ontologies, because each discipline would have its own ontologies. So there is lots of potential for AI research to come along, library science, and or let's say the library information science, and AI coming together would have numerous opportunities for very, very good and very, very useful and utility sort of research, which I think at times, like, in research, we take up topics which are theoretically very good, but practically no takers. But this is one area where the application awaits research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your expertise and insights with us. It was really remarkable talk, and your lecture have enriched our understanding and inspired us to explore new horizons. So really, your lecture was very thought-provoking, and I'm sure our participants have benefited a lot. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for being an integral part of today's webinar, as you have talked about digitization, ICT, data, and AI literacy. It will be very helpful in progressing further in the library services. So thank you so much, ma'am. Before we conclude today's webinar, I would like to invite Ms. Komal Gupta, a member of SLA Asia
Excuse me,
community.
some
Yes, sir.
questions also remaining from the audience.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much to the participants also that they have
Some Ashok Bhatt,
taken a step.
yes.
That you have
But
taken a
Mr.
step
Ashok
towards.
Bhatt asking about AI-powered search engines can provide more accurate and relevant search results for library, making it easier for them to find the information they need.
Sir, I've already mentioned that.
Sir,
AI-powered search engines
Yes.
can.
good evening, sir. Good evening. So, actually, this is the answer for
Yeah.
Dr. KPS Singer.
Yes.
He has posted one question, so I try to answer this question.
No problem. No, we have not the speaker. Okay, doctor. Or anyone else have any question?
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yes, please.
Sir, how can I? Sorry. First of all, I'm giving my introduction. I am Sunanda Rana from Rabindranath Tagore University, research scholar. My question is the content from the AI. How can a library diverse staff enhance their AI skills, sir? And what steps should library take in the direction? May I repeat, sir?
Yeah.
How can a library diverse staff enhance their AI skills, and what steps should library take in this direction?
One thing is, you said library staff, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Library.
Yeah.
How can we librarian diverse staff enhance AI skill?
See, I think if you would see the my first slide itself, and SLA had mentioned training, teaching, training, training and education be part of it. So part of the mandate of SLA. Likewise, I think library information system or library information courses could have these refresher courses in order to adapt to the software developments which are taking in the area. Okay, and also especially when some software is deployed in a particular library, at that time, like, a part of a purchase of any software, there is always this deal about demonstration, and those who actually use and sit on the terminals to assist the members or the users, and also, I mean, a deal with issuing and etc etc. I think they should be given the demo. Besides, like, because the research area is different, but you're talking about the library staff, and library staff being equipped with the technology, right? So I think the time to time capacity building is the only way, because technology is advancing and technology must be used. But then also the threats of the technology, so in training, the threat not only for its best use, but also the threats be also included.
Thank you, madam. Is the library ready to adopt the AI in the towards step?
You see, the library, I think one will have to see how many softwares these days which are being used in the library also are coming with the suggested upgradation with AI enabled. What I'm trying to tell you, there would be probably the efficiency of retrieval of documents, because it's a large database. Okay, so making the information retrieval faster is one thing, and which is definitely, which should be a welcome step. But provided the software which is already in use in your library, if the upgradation comes, or like, these days nothing comes for free, right? So it is also economic reason or financial reason besides the competence criteria.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nicely, ma'am, answering your thanks.
So before we conclude today's webinar, I would like to invite Ms. Komal Gupta, a member of SLA Asia community, to extend a sincere word of thanks to everyone who made this event possible. So over to you, Ms. Komal. Thank you so much, Pinky. It is both an honor and privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. On behalf of SLA Asia community, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who participated in our insightful international webinar celebrating the 25th anniversary of SLA Asia. First of all, I would like to express my special thanks to our esteemed speaker, Professor Sona Jharia ma'am, for her enlightening presentation on the role of artificial intelligence in library services, opportunity and challenges. Ma'am has illuminated the vast potential AI holds in transforming how we access, organize, utilize information within libraries. Yet amid these promising advancements, we must remain mindful of the challenges that accompany the integration of AI into library services. Really, ma'am, your lecture was much thought-provoking for all the participants across the globe. Now, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the President, SLA Asia Community, Professor MP Singh Sir, for their continuous support and tireless effort in ensuring the success of this webinar. Also, a heartfelt thank you goes out to the dedicated member of SLA Asia Executive Board and all the allies luminaries for your enthusiasm and contribution throughout the webinar. Once again, thanks to everyone who has played a part in making this webinar a resounding success. May we continue to celebrate milestone, encouraging deep conversation and aiming for excellence in the years to come. Once again, thanks to everyone for webinar a grand success. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone.
So, sir, can I exit, please?
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you so
ma'am.
much, sir.
Thank you everyone for your, thank you. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you.
Now everyone can leave. Thank you so much.